Good afternoon, everyone. Just a little test, I suppose, today. I got myself a new camera because this vlogging thing seems to be taking off. So I got myself a DJI Osmo 3 Pocket, which is very nice. So I've got a car mount for it, etc. So just to test it and for me to have an excuse to blether, I thought we'd have a quick drive into Aberdeen. So currently coming out of the P&J Live stroke Tekka, and we're just going to have a drive into town and see what it looks like. It's March 2025. Weather's a bit grey. There was a few spots of rain earlier, but generally it's quite nice. So we'll see how this goes. I hope that video is straight, by the way. We'll find out. So we're at Tekka. Two signs up ahead, Dyson Airport to the right and Inverness City Centre and A96 to the left. So we shall be going left. And we're just going to have a little run into town for those who have never seen it. And we'll try and remember some of the things that used to be there on the way. Totally unplanned, so let's just see what happens. And hopefully the camera doesn't fall off the mount. So just turning left now onto what was the A96 coming into Aberdeen. There we go. So this is the way you would come if you are leaving the airport. And we'll just trundle up here. Sorry, no, auto wipers are going, but looks blue ahead. Just a little dribble of rain, a few spits. So for any visitors coming into Aberdeen from the airport, this would be the way that you would come in. And don't listen to all the stories. It's grey and dark and bleak. It's not. It's a lovely place with lots to see. Do your homework before you come. That's all I would say. Edinburgh's the tourist capital of Scotland, but Glasgow to me doesn't really have a lot, and Aberdeen has heaps to see. So I would say, in my eyes, Aberdeen probably second. But for some reason they don't, although they have started taking the cruise ships in now, which can only be a good thing. So there'll be no overtaking in the way in. We'll stick in this lane. Cheeky little speed camera there. So this is coming in. This is Bucksburn now. This is what used to be called the propeller garage. Don't know if it still is. Used to have a big propeller outside of it for some reason. So this is what they would call the roundabout, or the propeller roundabout and the propeller garage, which is ahead. And it is still a shell garage. Is it called the propeller? Not sure. It'd be a shame if it wasn't. Does anybody remember why there used to be a propeller there? I grew up in Bucksburn, so I really don't know. But no, it's not. I don't see anything calling it a propeller. So if anybody can enlighten us why there was a propeller out there. 4 Mile pub on the right there. Great pub. Good food, live music. Can't grumble at that. Next we're coming up to a few shops on the left here. When I was growing up, that used to be called Vi's. It was Vi's, a little old lady that had the corner shop, and then it was Crofters. Taken over again now. I think everybody calls it Crofters. Travel Lodge on the left. Nice and handy for anybody staying at the airport. Followed by Lidl's and McDonald's. Plus the old Bucksburn Manor. Bucksburn Manor was fabulous. It was one of the original sort of carvery places. It was really nice inside. It was nice. It was very, very cheap. And it closed down. Don't know why. Maybe Dice Farm opening up contributed to that. But yeah, sadly it's gone. There was a sign on it last year that said it was going to be a Turkish restaurant or something. But that seems to have disappeared. And there we go. So we're coming through Bucksburn now. And there's, I would say, the old police station. It used to be a properly important police station. I don't think they do very much of it out of it now. There are still police cars and things there. Up on the right there was Bucksburn Primary School. I went there. Gosh, I'm trying to remember teachers' names. Mrs. Rankin, I think, was one. Forsyth, they were lovely. It's a great primary school to go to. So we're going through Bucksburn now. Little Malia on the right, cracking little Malaysian takeaway restaurant. the old TSB bank on the left, and on the right there's Auchmill Hall. Now Auchmill Hall, when I was a teenager, was bought by Stan & Co, which that pizza place is now. Now that used to be a snooker hall. Can't remember. It was Stan and the guy from Dice, I believe. But does anybody remember the snooker hall? I do. Used to go down there with my dad and we'd have a couple of games midweek. It's quite a big place. And that was only 80s, maybe early 90s that closed down. So Bucksburn here. On the left, some nice walks, but I remember there was I'm sure it was a sawmill down there. Abandoned when I was growing up, but there was definitely a sawmill down there. And there used to be a guy who opened a car garage for a while. Sort of not a main dealer, but just a guy making a living. And I'm sure I bought a Talbot Solara from him, and then a Mark II Escort. So that's just showing how old I am. Coming up to the end of Auchmill Road now. Sun's out, so it's all nice and sunny. Nothing much to say here. Twin Smiles Creamery used to be on the left there. Big dairy stroke creamery, but sadly gone, I would say 90s. And coming up here now to what used to be Logie on the right hand side. Logie Avenue, etc. Whole housing scheme that they decided in their wisdom to demolish for this one little slip road on the right. Not sure it was worth it. They reckoned that traffic in Aberdeen was really bad at the Hadigan, and by really bad they means you had a 10-minute wait. So compared to anywhere else in the UK, you're like, oh, is that it? But no, 10 minutes was enough for them to demolish a whole housing scheme. Auntie Mary and Uncle Jimmy, they stayed down there. Cousin Denise, they were in Logie Avenue. I remember it well. Great houses, but the whole lot gone. And in fact, if you look on my channel, you should find a little drive around when they were demolishing it. Just thought of that. So we're coming up to now the Hadigan roundabout, which they say is the big hotspot for traffic in Aberdeen. I've never found much problem with it. If you sit for 10 minutes, you sit for 10 minutes, and that's all right. So coming out the bus lane, and this is the Hadigan roundabout. I might go over North Anderson Drive later, you never know. If this works. Be an awful lot of waste if it doesn't work with my new camera, but there you go. Hello everyone. Hello, you stay there, Mr. Taxi. Thank you. So now on to Great Northern Road. There's a little retail park on the right there. Some vans doing some things. Esso and farm foods. The reason for doing these kind of videos is that eventually over time these things will go and these things will change, and you know, it's nice to look back on things and have a little video and just historically document them. The White Horse pub, been there for as long as I can remember. Cracking old school pub, it's just nice. Speed camera there with the cover over it, not used at a time. Now this used to be a chip shop on the right hand side, but it's now, oh, this guy's just going to pull out in front of me. Thank you for that. Yeah, well done, Scottish Power, yeah. Or whoever you were. Thank you. That's Effie's kebab shop. Now along here, this is what I remember. There used to be a place, there's a Crown Bar, sorry, on the right. There used to be a place called Murray and Essen. They had a place here and they had a place in George Street. Murray and Essen was like a second-hand shop or a used shop, and I always remember that my dad got our first ever video recorder, VCR, VHS it was, from there. That was Murray and Essen's on the right. So we've got a Polish shop. What's that, Iceland? There's the old church that's ruined. That's a real shame. I wish somebody would do something with that. The roof's off. Carpet and Vinyl Centre. Central Bar coming up on the right. And J&S Motorcycle Accessories. Pound Stretcher and a local little Tesco. These shops on the left, they change weekly by the looks of it. And the Fountain Bar on the left there. Now up ahead, they've just done this in the past couple of weeks. This is immense. They've done a very good mural on the side of it. Is it Dennis Law? Could be Dennis Law. Keep me right if it is. It's beautiful. It really is. And I'm assuming this is part of the Aberdeen New Art thing, where they basically just do big paintings on the side of buildings. And personally, I think it's brilliant. brightens the place up no end. So dull old building suddenly becomes good. Funeral directors there. Up here on the left, that was I think that was a Farm Foods, but it just closed a couple of weeks ago, just on the corner. Followed, what's over there? Sunrisers Fast Foods. Never heard of that. The frontage looks quite new. And on the right, free advertising, sellmycaraberdeen.co.uk. There you go, if anybody wants to sell your car, go down there. It's not, I'm not promoting it, I'm just saying it's there. Fish and chip shop, Premier. Will we keep going? Yeah, let's keep going. There's really nothing here. Pal of mine, Derek Robertson, sadly no longer with us. He stayed on the left there. Derek was a train driver, train conductor. He's a good lad, one of the nice people in the world, but sadly no longer with us. What have we got on the left? Instant neighbourhood. Help us make poverty-free Aberdeen. Yeah, I'm all for that. And some kind of little gardening buggy coming in front of us. Hello. Dum-de-dum. Thrifty car and van rental across the road. Did that not used to be a tool place? I'm sure that used to be a tool rental as well. Come round here. So coming down here on the left, I think they're still council offices, plus a lot of the newer police offices. They are further down on the left. The Bread Guys Bakery on the left. I've had some pies out of there, they've been cracking. If you want a sponsorship and to give me free pies, if you know me, I'm not the skinniest person in the world, so I'm quite open for sponsorship for free pies, Mr. Bread Guy. Hey, VIP Barbers there. That used to be a pet grooming place. I had a dog called Ozzy, I used to take it there, it was lovely. Oh, here's one of the sins in Aberdeen, look at this. The Northern Hotel. Been lying empty for a few years now. Art Deco, I don't even know if, no, it doesn't look as if there's anybody even looking after it, which is a real shame because that place was amazing. If you ever get a chance, or if it reopens, go up to first floor and go to the ballroom stroke dance floor stroke function room. And if you look up, I don't know if this is a common fact or not, but if you look up there, the roof is actually in the shape of a violin stroke fiddle. So it's designed like that. You might know I play in a band, Foobar, done a couple of weddings there. Mike and Serena's was the last one, and just a few years ago, and now it's sadly closed down, which is a real shame. On the right here, where these new flats are, or just behind it, that used to be Aberdeen Mart. They would sell cows and sheep and whatnot, and that was back in the 80s, maybe 90s. Before that disappeared. Now the Mart also did some very cool other stuff, and that's where you used to go for the police auction, so you could buy like a bag of watches, and this is all days before the internet, so you actually had to go down and have a look in the Mart, and you would get some interesting stuff, cameras, and you just bid on it like a proper auction, would take all day. It was good fun. And also they did a car mart. I think it was on a Tuesday night. My friend and I, Bobby Marr, went down. I just not long past my test, and I went down, and I didn't have much money, I'd still been a teenager, and I didn't have much money, so we went to the car mart, and all these cars went through that I couldn't afford, and then I remember this old banger came through, and it was a Vauxhall Viva in gold, gold Vauxhall Viva, and I think the bidding went £50, £55, because it was a real banger, and I remember we got it for £80. Bob Marr and myself, and honestly we had so much fun in that car, normally pushing it down Aberdeen to see if we could get it started, because it would bump start okay, but it didn't quite like the key much. But yeah, that's just a little bit of my past. So we're going to go into passing the I was going to say industrial estate, what's about shopping centre and everything, on the left hand side at Kitty Brewster. So that was Kitty Brewster, we went there. We're going to follow this guy here. We're going to go down George Street, and I think that'll be enough for this little run. Or will we go down the other way? No, let's go down George Street. So this bit up here is called Split the Winds, purely because it's a V-shaped junction. And it would split the wind, so the wind would come down here, one half of the wind would go right, one half of the wind would go left, if that's the way it happens. George Street, I'm torn on George Street. Actually, I'm not torn on George Street. It was an absolute hub. It was a thriving street, full of big name shops, full of independent shops. Now, what do I remember there? The famous ones were like the Rubber Shop, Halford's on the corner. There was a little, what we called the Little Woolworths in George Street. And then, when would it have been, 90s? They kind of they built a shopping centre, made it pedestrianised halfway down. They built another shopping centre. And it killed it for me, it really did. There were so many good little shops there. So if you remember any shops, especially like the Rubber Shop, give us your memories of that down below. So we're up the top here. There's North East Peripherals. A friend of mine, Martin, owns that. Hello, Martin. We plug for you there, mate. And the rest down here seem to be Polish, African, Chinese, sort of ethnic food shops. Draconian Tattoo on the right. They've done a couple of mine. Very good tattoo shop. I can recommend them. There we go. Hairdresser. What else do we have? Hairdresser, barbers, corner shop, takeaways, Caribbean foods, another barbers, Polish delicatessen, 524 bar, been there forever, another barbers, another barbers. A lot of people want their hair cut in George Street apparently. Haza Barbers, another barbers, yep. Edinburgh Cycle Cooperative, that used to be like a local bike shop. What was it called? Can't remember. Butcher's Arms on the right, so we're across Hutchin Street to George Street. I'm just going to go up as far as I can, and then that'll do for today. Big Walk Chinese, another barbers. Flash Photography. I remember coming up here on the right, that's where One Up used to be. One Up was my all-time favourite record shop in Aberdeen, and this was the second one they opened up down here when they had two simultaneously. It was Fred and Ray. Ray was down at Stonehaven where he lived. Northern Bar on the right, and a little corner Sainsbury's. Now on the right up here, there used to be a little sports shop. I remember being a teenager, I used to play table tennis. Got properly excited about going in there and buying a table tennis bat. I think it was just a little independent guy. Yeah, but I remember that being a sports shop next to One Up, so they were just on the right. On the left, they're lying empty, as a lot of shops are, sadly, in Union Street. That was a rugby shop for years. Further up from that, the Fun House and Party Mania. That's for getting all your fancy dress and jokes and things like that. They're always pretty busy, I think. They've been there for years, so yeah, good luck to them. The Finney's, the jewellers, further up. They've been there since, in the same premises, since as long as I have known it. Pretty nice jewellers. High-end stuff. I think we've hit most of the traffic lights in the way and in traffic, so I apologise for that, but hey, it makes a nice video. You get to see what's happening. Dum-de-doo-de-dum. It's been a nice drive in today. A Blue Elephant takeaway, restaurant. Barber, European food store, another barber. Crispy crepes and cones. Might have to try them. Haven't tried that one yet. There's Finney's across the road. A nice big sign ahead says George Street. Finney's the Jewellers, been there as long as I can remember. Up on the right there, that's John Street. There used to be they attempted a shopping centre in the 80s called The Village, all independent stuff. It then turned into the Ambassador Snooker Club. Long demolished, which is a shame because both were quite good. I'm a big fan of little independent stores, and as opposed to, your Tesco's and Asda's where you get everything. They're fine, but if you want to buy clothes and something unique, then that's where I would rather shop. Shop local, help people. Now, Manny, you stay there. He's thinking about it. Whoa. And that's it. We're at the end of George Street. Oh, on the right-hand side, that's where the ABC Bowling used to be. Played in there in its tail end, but oh man, I missed that. And Greg's here, and that's the old John Lewis there. But no, ABC Bowling, I'm sure everybody remembers that. And we'll go right here, and that'll be it. And we shall see you next time. Bye-bye.